Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
Derk, Harron.
Fuego here.
Hernandez.
Back with our biggest comics review to date, and there's a reason for that. Now, we're just going to be focusing on one book plus one issue right here, and this is one that all of us are here for because we have touched on this before on the comics reviews, actually. Fuego and I did a review of those first two issues when they were two separate artists when this comic was first starting out. Now, we did an interview at Mad Monster, Arizona, with one of the co-creators of the book, and we're going to be presenting that probably next week on the channel. So you'll find out just exactly how it went from two different artists down to the one artist for this first 3-issue arc, and then continuing on to the new issue here for the new 3-issue series. So, we are going to be talking about Blood and Dust, the life and death of Judd Glennie,
right?
Life
and Undeath.
Or the life and undeath of Judd Glennie, right?
Yeah.
So, we're going to be doing this like our normal comics reviews. We'll be talking about our overall thoughts, and then we'll dive deeper on story, artwork, and anything else we want to hit on. But first off, my overall thoughts were, as a whole, now with this new artist, having gone back and done the first issue and reading it as a complete storyline, plus the follow-up, which was really the first issue of more of an origin story, I really dug it. I thought it was an awesome story, and considering it's about vampires and you run the risk of rehashing tons of territory, I thought they did an excellent job of making it completely different and an intriguing tale of a vampire. So those are my thoughts. Derk, overall.
I really enjoyed it too. Like the villain is pretty much like an evil Swamp Thing, and I love Swamp Things. So I really enjoyed it, man. And usually I don't like vampire stories and stuff like that. But
really?
But it felt new, and that's tough.
Yeah.
Fuego, overall?
Overall, I'm with these guys as well. It was awesome, especially once the new artist came in and kind of beefed up the visuals, and they're very intricate and detailed, and it's in a lot of ways like kind of a Logan meets American Vampire kind of thing, and I really appreciate just the aesthetic of the kind of anti-hero that we encounter here, and just the whole moral quandary, and as the tale unravels. I mean, also, monsters fighting monsters is always badass, in my opinion.
Lou?
It's funny. I like horror and I like comics, but I don't read a lot of horror comics at all. And when Cecil's like, check this out, I was like, vampires. But again, it's like Derk said, man, it's refreshing. I read it and I was like, man, this is like Gran Torino. Vampires, man. Like, and again, like I mean, I know we'll get into the story, but no, I really liked it. I mean, the opening, the beginning of this comic, it really nails you to the wall.
Doesn't it?
Well, go ahead. Let's jump into the story since that's a natural segue, and we've all talked about our thoughts. So go ahead. How does it start off?
It starts off with this old man, Judd Glennie, sitting down in his cabin, kids running around, and then he's a dark man. You understand? He's like, there's something off, and then like he gets upset with one of his grandkids, and then grabs him and then stabs him in the arm against the wall, and
through the shoulder,
and that's when you realize, like, okay, they're vampires.
Not right away though. Like for a second, you're like, oh my god!
Yeah, at first you're like, what the hell's going on? And then you see, like, okay, turns out they're vampires. They're a family of vampires. He's the patriarch, and then they start diving into like why they're in the swamps of Oklahoma, which I thought was really cool because you never think of Oklahoma having swamps.
It's very swampy, yeah.
But it's like right on the border because they mentioned Dallas, Texas a lot.
And then once they start diving into like why he's there, and basically his like keeping his family safe and the way he goes about doing it, like Fuego says, he's an anti-hero. Yeah,
he is. A local man from the nearby town shows up and actually shows up to thank him for saving his son, because it turns out that the swamps nearby this Glennie household are not to be trifled with and not to be wandered into.
People
but unfortunately, people disappear a lot, kids especially.
Yep.
And apparently a young boy had gotten lost, and Judd decided to go in after him and saved him, and then brought the kid to the town and just left him. And you find out sort of through some backstory that he's been doing this for years and years, and that's how he's managed to stay separate from the town.
That's why they just leave him
exactly.
be.
That's another interesting thing. It's not like he does it because he's like, well, it's the right thing to do. He does it so like people
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
There's a little bit
You
of
know?
that though. He's like, I've done a lot of bad things in my day, and this is how I kind of balance things out a little bit.
Yeah, but not in the beginning. It was.
It is. Yeah, it's later
In
on.
the beginning, it was like, why should I give a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his buddy tells him like, well, this is why you should give a shit.
Yeah,
He's like,
it's like,
that makes
hello.
sense,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah. So he gets drawn in when basically his grandkids go playing outside, and unruly as they are and being kids, they don't really heed warnings they've heard over and over again, and one of them gets taken by this swamp monster of some kind, and the other one runs back and basically tells Judd, was it a sister that was taken, or was it the?
It was the brother.
It was the brother.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's the
yeah.
younger
There was
of the
3 of
brothers.
them.
Yeah.
Brothers and
Okay.
a little girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Derk. You look like you want to jump in. Pick up the ball and run with it.
So yeah, he goes to like save his grandchild, but then like there's the human who's like, well, I still feel like I need to do something for you, and he's like, I will help you find your grandchild, and he's just like, fucking stay back.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be more problems than anything, but he ends up going with him, and like the swamp monster is much more powerful this time around.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I guess that
Because the swamp monster is the thing that he has to continually
Battle.
save kids from.
Yeah.
right.
But it keeps returning.
It keeps returning, and this time it's stronger, and it's too much for Glenn.
Mhm.
Glenny. What ends up happening is they've kept the mother of the grandchildren locked up for so long. You don't really know why.
Yeah,
they don't
we
really explain
Might
it.
not, well, we probably don't want to spoil. Yeah.
And so one of the grandchildren like goes back and knows that I'm gonna finally release my mother from these chains to help out.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that's what they do. It comes to last resort, and the crazy vampire mother, is turned loose, and it's Judd Glennie versus the swamp monster, and what happens from there. Now, moving on just story-wise into the first issue here of Glennie Family Values, which is the follow-up series, which I believe is also supposed to be 3 issues. This actually tells a lot of the backstory of the Glennie family, including the mom.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool follow-up that it picks up basically right where that one leaves off.
And it kind of confirms some things that, at least in my opinion, they hinted at in this, as to like the nature of why the kids have been turned and things like that. And they go into deeper
It's the origin
explanation.
story.
Yeah. And
it is.
how Glennie is not like a typical vampire.
Right.
Yeah, they actually expand upon the mythology like massively.
Yeah, like he's more. I don't know. Like he's more than a vampire. There's something
Right.
very special about him.
Yeah.
So
it's more of a spiritual thing.
yeah,
And that was interesting. That's why I was just like, man, this is a great original vampire story. So
And just to chime in, one theme that I found very intriguing in this is how a family, like, even when they're at odds, like, family still bands together, even if they're not getting along and stuff, and they don't see eye to eye about certain things. When the chips are down, your family will still be there for you, and you'll still try to figure things out if there's a bigger problem going on. And that was a theme that I thought was really intriguing, because there is tension amongst this family, and just the way that they went about it, I thought was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention that it's really cool because Glennie's go-to weapon is a giant scythe. So he's basically death a-coming, and it's really awesome. So it was just a really fun book. Now let's talk about the artwork, because it's an interesting thing, because again, they started with a different artist, and then I guess by the time they got word back about the comic, the artists that they got had moved on, but so many people liked it and they wanted to do more that they had to continue with the series without that artist, so they got the new artist,
It was the South
who then did
American
the second issue. And the response to that was so good that they're like, okay, well, now we got to finish the series, and he's got to go back and do the first issue to make sure it all matches. And so let's talk about the artwork.
So wait, is that what happened? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, because I'm.
This is not the original artist. This is the guy that did issue 2 that was then asked to go back and redraw all of issue 1.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like the
Redraw
first
it.
issue and the second issue art-wise look different in the trade.
Nope.
Nope.
They were the same guy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
So what did the other original art look like? Was it?
We've got
art
the book
is
that can
good.
show you actually. Did you not bring it?
I didn't bring it.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, I actually found it at the comic book store, and I didn't even know that it was a different artist. I just bought it because it was like, I was just like, man, you know, I
It's
love.
only black and white.
I love the trade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I was like, I opened it up, and I'm like, wait a second, this is a completely different
Now,
artist.
is are the panels and the setup?
The layout's different.
Everything.
it's all different.
Oh
Totally
man,
Yeah,
I don't
so-
know that
So
one.
it's a
Yeah.
cool
I can loan you mine. I
It's
have
a
it in
cool
the
collectible
thing, yeah.
if you like the original, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
So-
especially if it does. Because here's the thing: we're all horror veterans at this point, and to have found a book at this point that deals with vampires, and even when some of us aren't big vampire fans, yet this tickled our fancy because it was a new take on this old trope.
You have to do something different with it at this point, and this definitely.
But that's
succeeds
saying
there.
a lot, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
saying
know. It's a
whole
tall
lot.
order, dude. Yeah.
I mean,
So-
it made me very interested in the what is this? What's the company that puts it out? Action Lab.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
no longer with Action Lab either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Because I was like flipping through the trade and I was seeing all the advertisements. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
I kind of
Puppet
want to.
Master.
Yeah, I'm like, I
always
kind of
giving
want
all
to
these
check out what else these
licenses.
guys
Yeah,
are putting
there's like
out.
this killer Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, a lot of
Slayer,
these.
I think it's called.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know it was a different artist though in the first.
Yeah. No.
issue.
And I thought that the first artist was pretty amateur.
Really?
Yeah. And it just like it wasn't polished at all. Like you could see the
I liked
pencil
it.
marks. You could see like it almost looked like something that, you know, like you're selling this to like a distributor and saying like, hey, is this something that you would be willing to like put out?
Not colored, I liked it better than this artist. And quite honestly, I actually
Really?
liked that original
Oh,
artist better. But once I saw the colored version of this
Yeah.
and how he did the first version, then I ended up liking this one more.
Hmm.
So having the benefit of having seen both in succession, it was a weird thing, but I'm very happy with what they settled on because this was a really gorgeous horror comic to
Yeah.
behold.
Yeah.
It really was.
Well, I wish I would have brought the other
The
issue
other one?
because it's pretty
Compare and
amateur.
contrast.
So Fuego, any thoughts about the art from you?
Yeah, the art was detailed. I actually did like the second artist better. It was, I mean, beautifully colored, gruesome, just shots of the creature, the vampires, and whatnot. I mean, the blood, the graphic nature of things. It definitely earns its mature rating, you know, at least as far as some of the carnage goes and stuff like that. And I mean, just the scenes where, you know, kids are getting drained and stuff, and it just felt like an elevated visual presentation once the new guy came on. So.
Yeah. That's
Lou?
Swamp Monster.
Well,
Great.
for the art?
Yeah, art.
Yeah, no, I like the art. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It felt like what you would expect from this type of comic from like maybe a more independent company, right? Because they're kind of like an independent company. I don't know
Oh,
much
yeah.
about action.
Yeah, action is, yeah.
But,
Definitely is.
I don't know, it's the only thing I think of is, I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but the art kind of reminded me a little bit of, remember when Insane Clown Posse used to have comics? I don't know who the artist for that was, but it kind of reminded me of a little bit of that, but which is fine because, you know, it's very horror. Like, it's very, you know, dark and, like you said, gruesome and almost not as clean as you might think it should be, you know? Not as consistent facial wise with certain like characters, but it doesn't matter because like it just works well with the story and like what's happening in the comic.
I like the covers too.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna
the-
say,
the-
Derk, as an artist, what is your opinion?
You know what? I thought it had this gruesome look to it. I think that probably the colors kind of stand out and help out some of maybe. It's still a little primitive, some of the artwork, but I thought that like just the background, especially like when they get into the swamp and
Beautiful.
hacking away
Yeah.
at the swamp monster, I just thought, visually it was a great comic. They found a great colors too along the way.
That helped elevate it.
But the covers were like it had like kind of a cartoony look to it, but they were watercolor.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a big watercolor fan when it comes to comic books.
It felt like serialized westerny kind of to me.
Yeah. So yeah, it had more of a cartoony feel to it. It's something that stands out, especially at like a comic book rack.
Mhm.
So
Or at a convention floor.
there we go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, there you go, guys. Any final thoughts on it? Or I think we covered it pretty well, honestly.
When does the second issue come out?
Yeah, I know.
It's because the first issue hasn't technically come out either. That starts in September.
Oh, he gave us an advance
I
copy.
believe. Yeah.
But you
Sweet.
said they're not going to be with Action Lab, so
No, I think he's gonna do another Kickstarter or something like that. Another self-funded run.
Well,
I'm not entirely
someone out there
sure.
pick this up, man, because it's good. I'm
Yeah,
digging it.
it was quite good.
Yeah,
Lots of
it's
building
happened
mythology.
since
Track
since
it down.
we interviewed him. But yeah, track it down. It's really awesome, you guys. It was a good fun. Again, 3 issues there, 1 issue there, all worth your time. Check it out. And to Michael Martin, who is the writer, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you doing this and providing it for the show. We really, really loved it. We actually wouldn't. We've gone up to plenty of exhibitors at conventions and whatnot and looked at their wares and been like, okay, maybe we don't interview them. And we were excited to interview him, and he was nice enough to provide us with a few copies of this, so we each had them.
Very
so,
gracious of him.
Definitely super gracious, and honestly, I don't blame him for having the trust in himself that we'll like it enough to talk well about it, because quite frankly, it was a foregone conclusion because it was so good. It's very easy to talk positively about something that really impresses you, especially in a part of your genre that you've seen so many times.
Exactly.
So yeah, I loved it. I'm glad we got to do it. Thank you, Mr. Martin, for providing it. And make sure you guys follow up with him. Check it out at bloodanddustcomic.com. I will provide the link down in the description box so you can follow up on all of his wares. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
Derk Harron.
Kristopher, Jaime, Fuego.
Luis Hernandez.
And Derk, if people want to check out your artistic skills, where can they go?
They can go to derkart.com or check me out on Facebook at Derkart.
That is DERK, not DIRK, just so you all know. DERKART.com. Check it out. It's got a lot of really cool shit on there, including some really awesome pieces from the John Carpenter cast podcast that he did, representing John Carpenter movies, as well as an awesome Demogorgon that I'm sure by the time this airs has been added to his website.
Is that you spurring him on?
So thanks again for watching, and until next time, remember, stay scared!